Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 19th episode of the Pure Joy podcast, a bi weekly exploration into what brings people joy. Today, I have with me a guest, longtime friend since high school. We're talking like 2008, 2009 when we met. Good Lord, that is such a 2009 doesn't even sound right anymore. There's like not a year that I say that's like that far back. 2009, holy cow. Um, yeah, right around there. That's incredible. His name is Manny Hernandez. He's here today to talk to us about the thing that brings him joy in life. We will get to that in just a few moments. But for now, Manny, why don't you introduce yourself to us here on the podcast? Tell us who we're talking to today.
Hello. My name is Manny. I have met Mitch. Oh my gosh, I've met you many times, but I haven't seen you since I left high school in
Yeah, I
Missouri
actually
and
I
I moved
actually
to
changed
Florida.
my name since then. I go by M now, just the letter M entirely. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, man.
that's hot. M. That's actually what I use for if I ever want to be secretive in like chat rooms, like because I
Oh,
feel like a
sweet.
lot of people know me as Manny. People who know me, like if I'm ever just making random comments here on on Facebook or like on shoot Discord, it's M.
Sure,
Oh
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
my gosh. Or I also use Mystery because it just sounds like mystery.
It
I don't
sounds like
know.
a mystery. That's what I tell people when they're like, "What does M stand for?" I'm like, "It's a mystery." Ooh.
Ooh, I like that. That's super cool. Yes. I myself, um, I like to sleep and eat. I've been doing that for the past couple of years. And I would also say that I've been working here and there. I lived in Gainesville for a long time. I I played with a couple of bands here and there. Even when we were living back in Missouri, I was playing with a band with a couple of people. We were called I Was Once a Mummy. I don't know if you
I
ever
think
remember
I
that
do
name.
remember that, dude. I think I do. I
I
was
played
once a
bass for
mummy.
them.
Yeah.
I think there was another bass player after I left. As it goes in small town punk scenes.
Oh,
After
100%.
I left, I don't know if that band is still playing together, or if it's morphed into something else. When I moved to Gainesville and I was playing in college, I played with a couple of other bands. First, first, first we were called Sippy Cup. That was the name that I introduced.
Yes.
That was the name my sister came up with. That was our Guitar Hero band name.
Sippy
And
cup.
after that, I suggested the Neverlanders, with like a fascination for like Peter Pan, Neverland, that whole like idea of like wanting to stay young,
Sure.
and then that became another group. Um, Man, I haven't played with the band in a long time. I was actually just thinking about because you've played a couple of instruments before.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy to jump back onto it. You keep that muscle memory.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you've been playing music. I mean, you've been playing music forever, forever. Do you find
Yes.
yourself in any sort of band or musical group now?
Not really. Anytime I kind of pick up my instrument, it's just for fun.
Yeah.
Um, recently, recently, me and my girlfriend have gotten a couple of like toy instruments, and we've been kind of jamming on those, and we're trying to just maybe write a song with that. That kind of if you ever remember the intro to Rugrats, it was kind of like playful and really soft sounding. And
Yeah.
so we're kind of looking for that kind of vibe. She also really likes like the digital 80s synth, so she wants to kind of put those like the Space Invader kind of
Yeah.
Toyland mix. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. You find yourself in Florida now. How's life treating you there?
Oh boy, Florida's good. It can get really comfortable down here. It's nice, and I would say the weather has been kind of crazy. I moved down here for a family, and
Hmm.
I would say the heat kind of keeps it nice and inviting. But the cold isn't something to miss because it's been coming down. I would say it reached the 30s back in January. I thought it was gonna snow at some point.
Oh man. Oh man. We just had a run of like 10-degree weather for like 4 or 5 days. It was awful. It was awful. So cold. I have to get up at like 6:30 to go to work, and it's so cold.
Do you guys still get rain up there, or is it just snow?
Right now, it's just snow. Yeah, it's just snow. Anytime it's gonna precipitate, it's definitely gonna be cold.
See, down here, the rain can kind of slow you down, but like I feel like the snow would stop your day. You would have to cancel plans and call everyone ahead, like, "Oh, I can't leave my house." There's no,
I mean,
there's no
you'd think so,
street.
but like everyone is that. This is life. Like it requires intense blizzards to like actually cut anything off. The city is, I mean, I live in Chicago, so like the city is really on top of getting to it. Like the moment it starts snowing, the plows are out just in case. Like it's so fast and so, the roads are slushy, there's
Uh-huh.
snow banks, there's snow there, but like the roads are definitely drivable. You just might have to dig your car out. And then no,
Does
there's
it
really
stay like
no.
that? Does it stay like that for long?
Yeah, man, it's been on the ground right now for like probably like over a week. Yeah, like 2 weeks.
Wow,
I mean, it's
that's
just the
intense.
winter here. Yeah.
I know, like I used to live there, and like I
Yeah.
still like can't even remember like times when
Can't even
the last time
imagine
I
it.
saw snow. Yeah, I was recently up there. Man, I can't even. Was it November? I think I was up north in November, working on some stuff in New York, and to see snow again, just as it was, and to get caught in a blizzard, was scary for me because it's something that I haven't experienced in so long,
Right, right.
and to see snow again, it was terrifying. I feel like a lot of Floridians have this like idea that the first time they see snow is going to be some lighthearted magical experience, and to me it just means like, oh, stay put, like wait till it passes,
Yeah, I
like
think I think for the most part we're just like prepared for it. We kind of know what's gonna we kind of know what's going on when it snows. So yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. Even like I don't even get too busy in the grocery store anymore right before it snows, which is like wild to me. Like I'm one to prepare, but like if there's a winter storm coming, people are just like, okay, I'll go out in it if I need something. But
Do you know anybody that has like a way of like growing fruits or vegetables at home right now, or if they've got any plants like
not right now.
these
I would be willing to bet
homesteaders?
my brother is starting his seeds for the summer coming up. They like have transformed half their backyard into different grow patches, and so
It's awesome.
they get like vegetables, they get all this stuff going in this city. We grew some potatoes and tomatoes a couple years ago, and the tomatoes came back last year. Um we're lucky enough to have a backyard that we're allowed to like mess with right now. I'm gonna have to
Feels
reset
like
that this year because this last year we'll have it. But
eventually, yes, my girlfriend has this plan to have a lot of land out in Colorado, build like an underground house, and have a greenhouse where we can be growing our own plants and vegetables. She wants to also have a camel farm, and that'll be like helping supply some of the meat, some of the milk, and whatever else they
yeah,
offer. She also, I mean, I share the same belief. If you're gonna like kill an animal, use as much of it as you can.
might as
Like
well.
that's there's so much life there. Blankets. In the meat, the milk. You could probably even
Tools.
use the bones for something.
Yep. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that
I
makes
mean, the
really good
bones were
fertilizer
used for
itself.
like tools and stuff. If you're open enough, you could use them for art even.
The earliest drums were made of animal skins.
There you
That's
go.
been something that has traced back to the origins of civilization. The first thing we did was make music with the things that we found in ourselves, either using our hands as instruments or our voices.
Sure, yeah.
It's something that's primordial. It's something that's in all of us. I
Yeah.
love, you know, just to bring up man, I told myself I wouldn't talk about the D, but one of my favorite scenes in Ratatouille, you know, all their movies are so good, you know. In Ratatouille, I love to repeat the phrase anyone can. Anyone can cook, anyone can sing, anyone can dance. You know, those are my favorite things to try to make us, you know, feel a little bit more welcome in this world. You know, it's easy to kind of feel isolated and left out, but in certain groups or in certain things that we all share and need, we're able to find community and love.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean 100%, 100%. I feel like so normally we start off with a little question, but I don't think like I feel like this is the perfect transition into our topic of the episode. And I feel like the flow's already here, so why not? What in life brings you pure joy? It feels like we've been edging in on it just a little bit, but why don't we just dive on in?
Music.
Music.
Music brings me pure joy. It's one of the most beautiful things that exists. I tend to find it everywhere. I love discovering new sounds, and you know, to me, music that's even been recorded 20, 30 years ago is still new to me. I love finding playlists that people have like curated on Spotify, like you know, just here and there. I follow a couple of they're not really you could almost call them like music influencers. They like build playlists and they just recommend new artists every day on their pages, and I think it's a really cool idea to just kind of spread the catalog that exists.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been inside of a record shop recently, but there's so many selections for classic hip hop, rock, reggae, jazz.
I
You
mean
know,
all of the music from old to like even new released music gets put out often on vinyl. Like tons of artists
yes.
have been throwing down on vinyl recently.
Yeah, my niece has started collecting a couple of records here and there, and it's funny to see the selection that she has. She has um Coldplay, she's got Adele, she's got a Gorillaz record, she's got something that I gave her, and it's like this French looking woman smoking a cigarette, and it's got like the classic kind of uh like symbols in the background, and it just looks like vintage, but it sounds just like, you know, as soulful as like some of the other artists that she has.
Yeah.
A lot of those female singers. I don't know if I said Amy Winehouse or not, but you know, someone who's very powerful. You know, she actually plays flute in band. So you know, it's a family tree. My sister played flute in the marching band. I played violin and orchestras when I was growing up. So to see like, you know, it just go around, my nephew sings in his choir, and he's one of the most valued members in his group. You know, whenever they need like a strong male vocalist, like they either go to him, or you know, he's got to like train the person that that's gonna be doing the job.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like music is part of your family. It sounds like it runs in the blood here a little bit. Do your parents, do your grandparents play any music? Are they on this
Yes,
trend?
my mom sang for a lot of jazz bands in Puerto Rico, in St. Louis. She would sing for a couple of bands that would like need female singers, because there's a lot of female classic singers. Celia Cruz. Um, oh my God. Oh, my mother's gonna kill me. I cannot remember her name. Oh, a lot of powerful artists, man. I can only think of the Queen right now. Yes. You know, the Queen of Salsa herself, you know, Celia Cruz, you know, has a lot of like powerful songs that it's hard to tell, you know, in those olden times who wrote the original song, because so many artists, you know, do covers and crossovers. Either they're like dual artists, you know, this guy and girl singer, you know, just doing masculine and feminine songs, you know, together, love ballads, everything that like kind of shaped, you know, their generation. You know, those are the songs that, you know, still famous and used today. they get sampled in like remixes by like whoever I like. It's funny to like hear a song on the radio. I'm like, oh, I remember that I can hear this other song. It's really funny to like catch it. You know, I'm sure you have an ear for it too, and you notice things being remixed, reused, and resampled.
Yeah,
Do
I mean,
you?
there's tons of like melodies that are consistent across time. Like, I do not know the names of them, but I know that they have names. Even so, like, only to further show that they're like so consistently used. Like, pop, I know is pretty heavy in like two or three different specific note progressions, and that you just like layer song after song on top of each other and hear the same like flow of music.
And it
um
never gets old. It's so funny.
no,
Like
yeah, that isn't like a
those.
negative either. That's just like a, a thing about the way that music goes. Like, people find specific, melodies a little bit more, I don't know if connectable's the right word. Maybe they feel a nostalgia for it because they've been around in music forever.
Yes, it's a good feeling. That's something else I wanted to say was like music is very sensory. I know a lot of people like their bodies just get the goosebumps whenever a certain song plays. I know it happens for me.
Hmm.
Anytime I hear something for the first time with some like really good headphones on, it kind of like takes you away to a place you've never been before, and it can transform your whole mood. You can be in a good mood, and you have a music, have a song just kind of overjoy you, and you
What is
want to
a
share it
song
with
like
other
that for
people.
you?
Oh man. I would have to say Steal My Sunshine by Lynn.
Okay.
It's one of those songs that I I don't even know the first time I heard it, but like it's something that I kind of like to play all the time. Um, oh man, what's another song? Um, that
Yeah,
Lionel
there.
Richie song, that all night long, all night. See, and it's
All
so funny.
night.
Some songs you have to like start singing to like get the words back to
Because you
you.
know what the song
It's
feels like, but you don't know like the name of it all the time.
Yes, and maybe someone else might jump in for you and like help you sing it, just because that's how much the music connects us.
Hmm.
If someone else can sing the B part or the A part, you know what I'm talking about. You're like
Yeah,
you're
I mean 100%. We just had Luke came on, and he is a part of the Barbershop Harmony Society of America now down in Tennessee. And
fantastic.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So he came on and talked all about like harmonizing and singing specifically, because that's like a huge part of his life, something that finds him joy. So we dove like all into like the harmonies and the like harmonizing and like how that feels. And it's interesting because like it doesn't even require like vocal harmony. It can be like the harmony between the bass and the lead guitars and the piano going on along
Hmm.
with the voice. You can create that like 3-4 part harmony with these different instruments,
Yeah,
and really like push it out. There's a
it's
song for me
good.
that has done that in the past year even, is a song called "Standing in the Doorway" by Alicia Walter. So good. It makes you feel good. It makes you like, it picks you up. She has some like power parts of it where she like does some really powerful swoops with her voice, and like every time I hear that swoop, I like get those goosebumps and I shiver a little bit. I'm like, "Yes, that was a good that's just a good thing to have recorded."
I'm gonna have to check that out. I love that.
Yeah.
Does when she sings and she shifts her voice, does it move you too? Does it move you to the music?
Oh, 100%, 100%. There's few times I wish I could like sing better, and it's like a song like this in which like I wish I could like hit that swoop as hard as she does with like the power. It feels so good to hear it. I can only imagine to like hit it as she is hitting it would feel even better.
Let me ask you, do you still listen to like musical performances?
Yeah, I sure do.
Holy cow. My girlfriend was showing me some of the well, we were listening to some of the songs from Six
Okay.
that's playing on right now, And really quickly, it's about the six ex-wives of Henry VIII, and they all have their own solos, and they all have like songs. They have like songs that incorporate like lyrics from each of their own solos, and like it's so crazy when you have those songs in a musical that like group things together. It's a story, more along than it's just a pop song, that you can kind of like bob your head to and have play in the background. It's something that brings your attention in, and you can have your imagination play something in the background while you're listening to something in front of you.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Like I wish I had like the imagination and the creativity to write a musical, because it's one of, I think, the most magical forms of art and creation that exist.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Not to like, it's beat a dead horse or whatever a good version of that saying is. But like Hamilton, like just rolling through that one stuck with me since it came out, right? Like everyone loves Hamilton. We're not like striking new gold here, but it just in the like you can imagine the whole show. You can live the whole show by just listening to the musical track. Like it gives you
Yes.
enough information to give you the whole story.
Yes,
Is
the
really that
delivery.
example. Yeah.
Yeah, the delivery of each line in each song, like kind of like in just the way people sing too. It shows you their emotion. It shows you like literally what they're thinking in the moment and what they're gonna do. Like you just get pulled in to the story. If it wasn't a musical like Hamilton, like there are other stories too that, oh
Yeah, of
man,
course.
someone told me the idea for a really interesting concept, from like Hamlet. There's like two background guys, and it's a little bit like Lion King and One and a Half, where you have the story of like two characters who aren't in the main story. I can now
Rosencrantz and
remember.
Guildenstern?
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. I was like, hold on, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna make my way there.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, there's that. Like who would expect to hear this story? There's so many stories that have yet to been told. Um, I kind of strike myself out as a songwriter, because I feel like there's so many songs that have been written that tell the same thing that I would say. One of my favorite singer songwriters is Mac DeMarco, and every single one of his songs just hits me in like the sweet spot of melancholy, of sweet sadness. I melt every time he sings. And I love his deep voice. I really like a lot of female singers too, but like every time Mac DeMarco plays, like I crank that shit up and I just kind of melt in my seat and I tell everyone to be quiet.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't discount yourself as a songwriter because of, I mean, maybe that reason. I would at least pose to you to think like, yes, that may be true, but like there are tons of there's a million songs that all basically tell the same story, but what makes them interesting is each individual's viewpoint. So like you might be
Yeah.
telling the same story, just to use like the most common, say like boy girl together, someone cheats on someone and now someone feels bad. Like that's a million songs. Like, I like, of course right now I couldn't pull one out of my hat, but that's like 30% of music out there is like someone is feeling bad about a breakup, right? But what's
Yeah.
important is that like what makes the ones better than other ones is that specific viewpoint, that like the way they chose to portray that viewpoint, usually through
Yeah.
music, sometimes through lyrics, but it's like to me it's usually like the way that they do the musical score behind the lyrics.
Mhm.
Oftentimes the lyrics are pretty similar until you get into like specific artists like Hosier. He could talk about a breakup all day in like 19 different ways and I would cry at all of them. Um
The way he also does arranges his music too. Yes, it amplifies the feeling.
it's
You
huge.
know,
It's huge. I can listen
uh,
to his recent album uh beginning to end over and over and over again. And I do in fact still do that. There's a few that just like there's a story there and you get a story in each of the songs. That is what they mean to do, of course, but if you listen to the whole album, there's also a wider story of like what's happening and like this whole journey that they're going on during this time. It's
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
beautiful. I'm gonna have to check that out. There are a few albums made today that still tell that story, that classic album idea where it was like I wanted to congeal into a whole story where it tells you, from beginning to end, and maybe this concept character that I created, or I am representing myself, and I am using myself as the avatar for this journey
Yeah.
that I want to put the audience on. H, do
Yeah.
you listen or M? Do you listen sad songs when you're sad?
Yeah, I have a playlist called Sad Songs, Sad Lo-Fi Rainy Day Tunes for the Soul or something like that. That like all of my they're slower usually, they're a little bit more instrument heavy. You can listen to them in the rain is the kind of vibe. Yeah, definitely, definitely. My music is totally dependent on my mood. Um Entirely. Like how energetic I am, if I'm happy or sad or angry, like I've got playlists kind of for all the above, and for the ones that I don't, like I know the songs that I'll start with, and then I'll let Spotify curate based off of X, Y, and Z. That's fine with me.
That's great. I've been finding myself playing a lot of like dance music, just like no lyrics, just quick beats, a lot of electronic dance music. Um, One of the artists that I've been listening to a lot. Oh man, they go by Pink Panthers.
Okay.
Pink Panthers did a song with I think it's Willow Smith.
Okay.
Is it
Yeah.
the other Smith
Not
child?
Jaden, but
Yes.
Willow. Yeah.
Not Jaden, yes, but Willow, yes. They did the song together. She's been doing a lot of good songs.
Oh, her music
My
is
girlfriend
killing
has
it
them on.
lately.
It's a great mix. Yes, she's got a great like screaming voice. It reminds me a lot of Avril Lavigne. Avril Lavigne or is
I mean, if
the
you.
singer either for Flyleaf or Paramore. One of those
Oh, Haley
singers. Yes,
Williams.
yes, Haley Williams.
Yeah, Paramore. Absolutely, I could definitely see that. I can definitely see that. When you said Avril Lavigne, I was leaning in the pink direction, which there's also a lot of like power there as well. And another good example
Yes.
of someone who like may have the same sort of topic and subject to a lot of her songs, but each one that is a banger is different because of the view that she's putting on it this time. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't discount yourself entirely from songwriting. Of course, like if your heart is taking you in a different direction, that's like a different story. It's hard to get creative when you're not like passionate about it. But if you feel the passion towards it, like your viewpoint would like is another viewpoint that's worth listening to. I think like
Thanks. Yeah.
and
Yes,
then if
I
it's not the
agree
best
completely.
song, like, okay, do another one, write a second one, write a third one, just keep going. That's like,
Yeah.
it's like the same with podcasting we were talking about in the beginning. Like when you're just getting started, you're like, you don't want to get held up on all of the problems with it. You want to like allow them to exist. There's always going to be a problem. So like allow it to exist, learn how to move past it, and then the next time like that problem may not exist and now you found a new problem. Um
Yes. Or find the inspiration in the problem and maybe use that to push you into another direction, or, finding the alternative solution may even, put you in a new track and a new course. And it can always take you back to what you want to do originally.
yeah.
It's new ideas. I think it's funny, having to change your plans a lot, but always coming back to, the dream that you always have.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's sort of I feel like a lot of my quote unquote dreams throughout my life have been on the same path, but very heavily colored by the bubble around me at the moment. Be that in high school going into theater, like that was very heavily colored by like the friends I had, right?
Mm,
It's where I found sort of community, and that's hard to find in high school. So when you find that community, you become that kind of person. Like
mm,
if that's in your math clubs, like now you're kind of like high school looks at you as like a math person. If we're in theater, like that's what we do through high school because that's the bubble that that's like around us.
yeah.
um you
And you
know
make your own. Yeah.
No, yeah, I just that sort of has continued throughout my life is that like it's always kind of colored by what's around me. The past few years I've been able to like realize it's just like being creative and putting that into form, whatever that is. Is that writing? Is that making 2 podcasts? Is that like what is that? It's just being creative. And so I'm so happy that like I've been able to structure it in a way that has allowed like you said, like come back to the dream, and realize that being creative was the dream. I might have just been going about it in the wrong way
Yeah, and
for me.
I was I had a question. Yeah, do you always find like that you have like options coming to you, like creative ventures, either if it's not your own project or someone else who just needs like, another kind of editorial, set of eyes
Yeah, I
or
mean, a
voice.
100%. It's interesting. I feel like the more that you surround yourself with a thing, the more you are to see the opportunities that are there for it.
Yes,
When I started
opportunity.
like Russian podcasts, there was a couple people that are like, "Hey, I've seen your content before, but now that I see you're doing a podcast, I'm curious if you'd like to come on to my podcast and chat." Like, they didn't ever think about that before because it like that thought had never been triggered in them, but now that is an open venture. With the
Yeah.
D&D one, like all the time I'm like in consistently thinking about what I can do to make that a better story. And I love that I have so much time in between little actual segments of doing it that I like can really build a strong backbone to it. And then, oh, that idea doesn't work. That's okay. I haven't gotten there yet. I can toss it out and like put in a new idea and try to like puzzle this together. And now we're playing, and here's what I've made in the background. Um, yeah,
And it's a beautiful thing to see happen. It's flourishing in its own thing, and like you said, it's getting better over time. It started out as just like a rough sketch, but now it's become a pretty solid a pretty solid thing that you can show people and enjoy. And I think that's the coolest thing about the creative arts is sharing it with other people. And you know, I think there's that shitty part of creative arts where people feel like they need to critique other people's art. But with that aside, the sharing and the enjoyment of all of it is, I think, the best driving um, force behind the arts.
yeah, I mean, I
I would
totally
say
would
music
agree.
too.
Just like being able to share with it. I mean, music is definitely in the arts. Just like being able to share it with one another. Um, Seeing if we do connect at this moment on this level with this thing I've made. Was it for entertainment? Okay. Was it to move you? Did it do that? Did it entertain you? What was the purpose? What can I do better next time? Like, what can I do better not next time? Not what do you think I could do better next time, of course.
Yeah.
Um, be open to criticism, but like we said, like it's better for it's sometimes you just like want to hear was it good? Like it's not like what about it could be better. Sometimes it's just like how did it move you?
Yes.
You
How
know?
did it move you?
And I mean I
Did
mean
you?
music is much the same way.
I think one of the hardest and scariest things is just performing for somebody. And if I think that's the thing that's probably maybe holding some poets out there back. I think that's fine. Maybe you don't need to perform your own songs. There are people who want to perform, and they're songwriters. There's a nice middle group where they do write songs for each other. I know there's a good. I have a friend here in Orlando who's got a writer circle of friends, and she hasn't made a post in a long time, and I hope that she's still writing music because it's beautiful. Playing for other people and sharing music. I still have a guitar that I like to take around with me in my car, and I do get a lot of fun, like playing for some people. And if anyone's ever like, oh, I know one song, just to hear them like play and sing the song, really adds a really good mood to the group. It brings up the the oh man, it brings up like morale. It makes
Yeah,
everybody feel
yeah.
happy.
It raises the whole mood to like sort of it introduces a camaraderie. Like we're all here enjoying this thing and we're about to gas you up.
Yeah, no one's here to judge you. No one's a professional. We're all here to just have fun. I think that's like the best way to like start making music is just to like have fun with your friends and sing the ball roll from there. Some of my favorite bands have started that way. I don't know if you're familiar with the Growlers.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
The Growlers just started as a group of friends who just like to play music, and now um, they've all gone off and done other things with other musicians, or have all started beautiful solo careers. It's something that doesn't ever die, and they always come back and play with each other. I think it's really cool to like have that kind of camaraderie in a group. And now there's also bands that have like broken up completely for ideologies. I can attest to that. I've definitely been in a band with some people that I didn't enjoy playing with, but they were the people that came back to that group. That's who we found.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, musical groups be breaking up all over the place. Like we just got word a few days ago that Panic at the Disco was done. Brendan Urie was like maybe like a week ago. He's like Panic at the
No.
Disco is no more. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
He's moving on. I mean, he's about to be a father. Him and I think her name is Sarah.
Wow.
About to have their baby, and so he's gonna like transition into being a father.
Congratulations.
I
Yeah,
I
that's been
f-
happening.
I feel like maybe it opens the door for like some solo Yuri. That's what I've been expecting in the past few years is like it to be Brendan Urie. You know what I mean? Um, but it's been Panic at the Disco, and I've loved most of it. And but yeah, I mean, bands break up all the time, and it's just wild. Like I remember listening to album number one in the car in high school, like rocking out to the big band sort of ska style music, and
Yeah.
and now 10 years later, they're just like they're going their own way. It's not like a breakup. It's not like ideologically they didn't work. It's just it's time.
Honestly, Panic has been one of those bands for me that's always been like on the radar, and they've come back. One of my bands, we wanted to cover "This Is Gospel,"
Mm.
and I feel like it was always we. I don't know which one we covered because there's the acoustic version where he's just playing on the piano,
Mhm.
and then there's the full band version where it's all of them playing together. And which one's your favorite?
Um, for This Is Gospel, probably the piano version.
The piano
I just
version.
like less. I like Brendan Urie. I haven't I like the band Panic at the Disco because I like Brendan Urie so much. I haven't particularly cared so much about the whole band since like Pretty Odd when Ryan left and like, you know, drummer was killer in number 3, but then after that it's just been like the Brendan Urie project for me,
Yes.
you know?
And that's hard. That happens to like some good groups. I think it's important for like people to people to share ideas, and it's hard to tell like when something's not Yuri because he's got he's got that stamp. He's got that voice. Once you hear that voice, it's like, oh, that's Panic, or
It's
oh, that's
so
Brandon Yuri.
Man, I remember when I saw him, he came on stage. He was one of the times of the like 4 times I've seen him live. He came on stage, he was like, "I'm sick. This is going to be a shitty show. I'm really sorry guys, but we're going to fucking kill it." And then it was like one of the best shows I've ever seen. He was like so energetic. He did a backflip. He was singing opera notes. It was like a bomb. We were like everyone was going fucking wild. And now I'm like seeing all like the most recent tour where like he just wasn't. He just wasn't crushing it. He was missing the notes by a few under. He was just like it didn't seem like the same drive was there. So maybe some of that like, maybe he is more focused on his family. Totally fine to evolve his life beyond that.
Absolutely. It's super important for anyone to recharge. I think it's hard to say that you aren't a human being when you are a musician, but you need to take care of yourself and to take care of the important things that are around you, your friends and your family. are part of that group that help you heal, and
100%.
you need to recharge your batteries. If you don't do that, then it's gonna burn out. It's happened to I mean, there's healthy burnout where you can just take the time to take a step back, say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and stop touring for a little bit,
I'm gonna take a
and
pause.
yes, and I'm happy to hear that. It's a shame to hear that Panic's taking a break, but I hope they come back,
Yeah, I mean,
or
I
whatever
hope that
Brandon
we
does
get
separately.
something from Brendan, right? I think that he's a great songwriter. I think that he's a good performer. Um, and I really enjoy him. So I do agree. I hope that there had been whispers of the following album to the one that just came out. Can't ever remember the name of it, but was gonna be like hardcore and like death metal inspired. And I was like itching. I really wanted this. I really, really wanted this. But that's okay. Like it's fine. I understand that he's got to do his thing and take care of his life. I've been there creatively where you have to do that, take a step back. I hope that it's
Mhm,
not the end for this music that I've loved so much. But
absolutely.
so what do you
I
think
want to
about? Well, what's
go
up?
ahead. I was gonna say I wanted to just touch just on one band, a band called Dance Gavin Dance. They've had
Yes,
like so many different singers, so many different players like in the band. From what I can tell, there's only been like two or three main solid like guys that have been in the group, but other than that, it's kind of shifted a lot of players.
Gavin hasn't been
And
dancing in a long time.
no, it's not even Gavin
It's Dance
anymore.
Kevin
It's
dance or whatever.
yeah, there's Kevin. And I think that's cool too. Maybe they stop performing certain songs because it's a different kind of feeling, but a different group has a different feeling and a different voice. And I've seen that they've been going on tour, and I would love to catch them, just to see what they're like. I've
See what
not
this
seen them
new
yet.
milestone is like in their life.
Yes, and I salute them, and like I appreciate anything that any musician does. Music is one of the coolest expressions of self and art that we have, and performing for people is one of the scariest things. Whether you do it for yourself or whether you do it for other people, I think music is one of the purest forms of joy and one of the greatest gifts that we've created for ourselves.
Hmm. What do you think about music? What do you think it is about music that does connect us? Like that does make us feel more connected to those around us?
That's a really good question. I think it's the fact that our this is gonna get a little scientific. I think it's the fact that like our ears pick things up, and like there are certain things that like tell our brains like this is a good signal. And one of those things are just people speaking, just the voice that we have. Some people's voices are really soothing to hear and really inviting, and you just want to keep hearing those people speak. They're very warm. And there are other people that have um maybe great things to say on top of that, great inspirations of thought, and it's very provoking. One of the coolest things I love when listening to music is hearing an artist with a lyric or something that really touches you, and it's something that you've never even like thought before. It happens all the time, like in
All the
rap,
time.
like rappers will like make an analogy to something, and or they'll just like say something that I know. Anytime a rapper references Kingdom Hearts, I lose my shit. I'm just like, holy shit, did he just say like swing that keyblade? Oh my god. Like
And now let me go back and listen to all the words around that to hear the full like what like how is this all like where does the Kingdom Hearts analogy start and stop? Because you might hear like three lines before that are sort of Kingdom Heartsy, but you don't really get that vibe until they say the Keyblade, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
Reverse. What did you say? What did you say?
They'll mention like two or three other video games, and I'll be like, oh, this guy's a gamer, or like the next song it like starts with like an anime like an anime loop, and
Yep.
then like oh just really cool beats after that. I think that's man, that's another great thing is that about music you can just really like put you in the mood for something if you ever want to change your mood or your environment, listening to something that kind of puts you in that place, and that mentality is like no other else, like it's like a drug. And
I
just
mean,
like
100%. Like Luke and I were talking in his episode. I think you were sort of mentioning it early on, and like why music connects us is that like the frequencies, right? Like you get the right frequencies together, and I think that like you could feel that in your core, and like that to me is like what draws me most to a new song or a new artist is like does that like resonate when I'm listening to it in my headphones? How does that resonate in my head or like in my chest? I love it when the bass like goes all throughout your body, and like specifically in Standing in the Doorway when that swoop comes up and I can feel like the sound in my body like swoop with it because it's all resonating just right in this moment. Absolutely love it. It feels like a drug. Like it feels like a high for that moment. You're like, there's like a tingling in your brain because it has all
yeah.
lined up just right.
Hmm. It's sensory, I love music. Music is great, and it's one of the best ways to kind of share. I think I read it somewhere that like sharing songs is like a form of love, is like a love language in itself. That's something that I love to do with new people I meet. Like, hey, can I send you a song? And will you send me a song back? And that's something that we can maybe find a commonality in, or a new oh man, like a new experience,
Yeah, I mean
something
100%.
discovered.
I when I met my partner, that was like a big way that we began developing our relationship is like through music. I had all this good music, like this same Hosier album I'm talking about. I would send her the songs as they came out, like how much of a banger is this new Hosier track? How cool is this one? And like the album dropped and I was like, you gotta listen to the whole thing. And one day she was like, here's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling low, I'm feeling sad. Do you have sad songs? And I was like, I have a whole playlist for you. Here's this playlist that I've been cultivating for just this moment. Um yeah, like a lot of our relationship began on, I mean, co-misery of where we were working, but also like of this like shared experience we were creating through the songs and through the music. And like there's certain songs that I remember listening to at that time when I was like thinking about her, and like we were developing our relationship, that now when I listen to I'm like, I remember feeling like this because of this song. It has brought that feeling back in me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Or this song got me out of a hole. It's something that if you're ever feeling the same way, you share that, and people love it.
I mean,
uh
because of theater back in high school, like since then, since doing the shows back in high school, I've had a 3-song playlist that anytime I need to get pumped up, it goes from like low and slow to a Chiados song, like fast and like pumped.
yeah.
3 songs. I love it. And now like anytime I hear one of those songs, I'm like, okay, I feel exactly like the way that I had used it in the past, like pumped, or the beginning of it, I feel a little bit more like I'm pulling myself together. I'm beginning to get, pumped up, and now I'm like jumping and getting ready for it. But yeah, like that playlist, like those feelings still hold true with that music now.
Yeah.
Even if that may not be their intent, I think I chose good songs for those intentions. But like, even if that may not be their intent, you can derive the feelings that you kind of want out of some music too.
Is there a certain genre of music that you always come back to?
It wasn't always the case, but like rap, like since college, like starting college, it's been like rap and hip hop. Maybe it was because before that I hadn't really been into rap and hip hop, and then it kind of got open to me. I remember like listening to, I don't remember the name of the Eminem. album, but the one with the pill that's broken in half shouting. I
Yeah.
remember like going through my brother's CD collections in the car and then being like, "Ooh, let's listen to this one," and pulling out the Eminem thing and me being like, "This is not for me." And now like when I listen to Eminem, I think about those days when I was like, "This is not for me," and now Eminem is not for me, but in a different for a different reason. Because I've grown up. Um, but like hip hop, like
Yeah.
whenever I just do my stuff throughout the house, I find myself skipping through the songs on the playlist until it's a little bit more heavy in terms of like music and beats and the drive. Yeah, hip hop often. What about for you? What do you find yourself coming back to the most, do you think?
For me, it's probably gonna be reggae. I would say, when we
Oh,
were in high school, the ska was something that I listened to a lot, and a lot of
yeah.
those like faster punk ska songs are slower reggae songs. And now that I'm older, I find myself, liking the slower songs. Needing time to slow down myself. Maybe my brain is racing a mile a minute. I always come back to just some classic Bob Marley, some good Daniel Tosh, um, Steel, Steel Sound. A lot of good classic reggae artists. It's something. Waiting is in vain is probably something that I've been playing. A lot. Just because I find the concept of waiting to come back every so often in my life. There's a really good song. Oh man, is it Waiting? I think it's called Waiting by Enjoy.
Okay.
If you're familiar with them, and
I think that's the first one where I haven't been familiar with it yet.
it's just a song that just reminds me. It makes me think. Am I waiting right now for the ball to drop, or am I standing still?
Hmm.
Is this helping me, or is this slowing me down?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great thing about music is that like you can find any emotion of like what you're feeling right now kind of mirrored in some way in a song, in some song out there, even if that isn't necessarily what they're talking about or what they're experiencing when they're trying to relay this emotion or this feeling, you can derive that. Like I find so often where like they're obviously talking about a breakup, but if I like kind of flavor this for what I'm going through, it can like help me learn from it. It can help me develop out my response to it. Yeah, you can kind of like make music mean what you want it to mean too.
Yeah. Turning those breakup songs into something else. It's like you make it about your job and you're just like, man, do I do I love
Exactly.
do I love my boss or no? Do I really enjoy the work that I'm doing?
So we've
Like
talked a lot about like we've talked a lot about the challenge of like performing in front of others and the stage fright that comes along with performing music often. What do you think some other like challenges with I maybe having music as a hobby or sharing music with others or the concept of music? What other challenges do you think exist there?
I think probably and it's funny. Sharing music with people is great and it's exciting, and sharing music with people can also be a little terrifying. If you've ever played a song for somebody and they just have the exact reaction or the exact opposite reaction that you wanted.
It's like a total flop and you're like, "Oh no, this was a
Oh
song I
no.
loved."
I have a friend who's a DJ, and anytime he's playing, he can. It's a sixth sense. He can see it in the room, or maybe he can feel it or hear it. People start talking over the song, then that must mean that they don't like it. People are leaving the dance floor. It must mean something's wrong, or you know all these things go into reading the room, or just playing music for one person. I think. Did you say what was the hardest thing was sharing music or performing music?
I mean, both. I'm just like we're just, what are like the challenges we face with doing those things or you face or you see with either sharing or performing or both?
Oh, for performing for me, it's really just I'm a very creative person. So for me, when it came down to I didn't have a band to play with anymore, I had to figure out, okay, how can I make music by myself?
Mhm.
And when it came, there's a lot of technology that you can use nowadays, whether it's hardware or software to mimic the sound of a full band. I bought a couple of like drum pads and like
Love a drum
synth
pad.
machines
Yeah.
to mimic, playing with a band, to the point where I was like, I feel like I'm drifted away from the sound that I originally wanted to create. I'm
Mm.
making these ravey like 90s Y2K beats, like what am I going to do with this? This is different. But when I shared those with people, they also like that. It's a different sound and it's a different energy, but um it was pleasing to the brain,
So it
whatever
might
it
be
is in there.
challenging, like challenging yourself with something new, or realizing that, doing it over and over again, steadily and regularly, sometimes you can find yourself off the beaten path of like where you started. Like I've definitely noticed that in just like creating content, but it's like the same in music. Like when I began, I started I bought a ukulele to play a song for my niece when she was born. Never once have I played the ukulele around her really. And then I like began learning other things and fell away from that whole reason I had begun doing it in the first place. I think in that case it was good. I grew a lot. I like learned
Yeah.
music, but like in some cases you like you just said, like you got these things and began doing it this way so that you could make up for doing it solo, make up for not having the guitar behind you and the bass behind you. And then now all of a sudden you're making like rave beats and like going to town on your drum pad, and like you're like, "Oh, hold on. This isn't why I bought the drum pad. I'm loving it. This is a cool song that I've made, but this isn't like why I started with the drum pad."
It's very different, yeah. And I've had to teach myself to be okay with it. I probably was leaning more towards perfectionism when I started, and I had to cut that off because it really slowed down all the potential that I had to make whatever would come out of the creative process. Whether it's just a framework for something to build on later, or a finished project made really quickly. I think I I probably preferred the other one more than the first one, but that's all part of the creative process. Everything has its own beginning and end, and with songwriting, you know, I think it's important to keep writing new songs and exploring new ideas so that it not only changes um, the the range of the music, but it also changes the range of your personality, your personal growth,
Yeah.
as time goes on, I'm sure, maybe my music will become more a Y2K rave synthy. I'd be happy for it.
You're making music. It may not have been why you started, but that doesn't mean that like I mean when I started creating content, I never thought in a million years this is what I would be doing. Like this
Mhm.
that I would be sitting down, I would be doing interviews with people, and I would be like working on editing interviews. I was playing video games, and like I still play some video games here and there, but it's definitely much more focused on like making connections with people here through, our joys, what brings us joys, and D&D through like a good story that I am like being as creative as I can be on it. Like they've developed and it's grown for what I've been doing, and like you doing music is much the same way. Like you definitely again didn't start with Y2K synth beats in mind, but like now that you're doing it, you've grown a lot probably since you got this and since you started doing it, that like whenever this comes to its natural conclusion, um sometimes sooner, sometimes later, you can always like use these skills to go down the next road. Maybe that totally switches up and all of your buttons on your drum pad change to a totally new sound, and now you're just doing like reggae music. Maybe you don't need to be hitting it as fast as, like going with the beats. Maybe you can hit one button and then another slowly, and now you have like a little bit slower for reggae. Like you said, ska's just sped up reggae, kind of
Mm.
like it's the vibe of reggae
The
sped
ska
up.
punk, yeah.
Ska punk, yes. But like yeah, not to diminuate like ska or like either of them as a whole, but like you can kind of transition some music into another by just changing the speed and the like intention behind which you're creating it.
Yeah. I think another like challenge too is kind of um telling your mind to be okay with not doing the whatever. Well, say you do have a framework to start with, you can work with that. But if you don't have a framework to start with, your brain might tell you that, you know, you may need XYZ to start, but you can really start with whatever you got.
Yeah, 100%. Don't let like materials be the thing to hold you back. Like it may not be in your dreams to start with like some simple beats and some simple stuff, but like maybe you don't have a guitar, maybe you don't have a drum set yet. Maybe you can find a cheaper drum pad with only a few buttons to give you a start on creating these things that, you know, and if you don't have that, like there's like we talked about in the beginning, like music stretches across so many things. Like beatboxers, they just use their percussive mouth instruments. Like there's like tap beats that people go fucking wild on with like a pencil and like various like percussive musicality like that. Like it doesn't always need to be like a full band. If you only have a solo show to start, then that's okay too.
Yeah, it's it depends on the person and whatever you got, you know. And uh thanks for the inspiration, Mitch. Maybe I'll start making music again.
I mean, I think
Or
that
an
you
M.
should.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, man. It's always hard. I mean, like you've always known me as that. That was never even part of the conversation
This
until
is
we got in
me
here.
meeting you again.
Yeah, I mean, it's also yeah, exactly. Like yeah. I like it. It's so like second nature that that just is my existence for the past 10 or so years. That like it's harder to be like
I have
I
been
don't know.
using Emmanuel more in more professional
Okay,
settings.
there you go. I can also change all of this. At the beginning, I did Manny, but I can like the title can definitely be Emmanuel for sure if you've been using Emmanuel.
Oh, that's fine. Manny's fine for now.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's totally up to you. I just like yeah, totally fine. It's not even like a thing. Um,
I appreciate you. Thank you.
no, yeah, man, of course. Um, yeah, okay. We've talked a lot about music here. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that like music inspires you through or that you generally think about when you're like listening to music or trying to create it or anything like that?
I think it's just, you know, I really don't have. It's funny. I don't have like a music preference really. I love to hit shuffle and just hit whatever and just have whatever comes on and plays. You know, I think it's funny. A lot of people downplay country. Country music's not all bad. Maybe you're just listening to the wrong country artists. You know, there's a lot of different stories and a lot of different things to be told. You know, all those breakup stories, even from the country perspective, are crazy. You know, you picked a bad time to leave me, Lucille, is like it's a funny story, but at the same time, it's also sad. You know, like you know, I probably I don't know. I don't know how many like I said earlier, I don't know how many old songs I'm hearing for the first time. And I love exploring new things and new ideas, you know, whatever the art form is. I love, you know, I hate to use just the broad term foreign, you know, foreign music, you know, but international records, you know, it's funny. They always stick them in the same box, but you could put those in rock, reggae, you know, pop, you know,
Yeah, that's
rap, you know,
fair. That's fair.
yeah.
Yeah. Good
And
point.
it probably cutting people out of a lot of artists that they're missing out on. There's a really good oh man. If if I can send you if I'm gonna look for the I think it's Ratzika. Ratzika is this they're this Polish ska band.
Yeah,
And
I know
they're
of
like
them.
they're
Yeah.
these four women that you know they just play and they like have fun and they have that jumpy kind of energy to lots of their music.
Yeah, so definitely like I think as a moral to that, just don't close yourself off to music. Like I am one to also say like I love all music, but country is not my thing. And that is like that comes from a I've been listening to music so much, like religiously over my life, and like there are definitely the caveat of that, there are definitely country artists out there or country songs out there that heavy hitters, that are bangers for certain.
That's a banger.
As a whole, I'm not like so into the country vibe. I think I was maybe burnt out on a little bit growing up in Texas. The twang is everywhere.
Oh, I'm sure.
The
And I think that
feeling is
happens a lot.
there,
Yeah.
but
I'm like
like
that. I'm like that with something like classic salsa music. Like I started listening to that more as an adult. To me, that's the music that I grew up on. That was my parents' music. So I thought that was boring and not enjoyable to listen to. But now I have like a totally different perspective on it.
yeah, 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 definitely. So yeah, definitely don't close yourself off to anything just because you don't think it may be your vibe. There's like I would say that like Standing in the Doorway by Alicia Walter, I thought wasn't going to be my vibe. It was one of those songs I had listened to a couple. I think I had heard her voice before, and I like her voice, but I wasn't like sure about it. And I think it's just a couple of the songs I had heard. Because when this one hit, it's just like not what I normally listen to, but I friggin' love it. I love it so much. And it is like the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, it is kind of what I normally listen to, like energetic wise. It has the energy of what I normally listen to, presented in a different way. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for the song recommendation. I'll check it out.
Oh, for sure. I'll also send it to you so it's easy to just like look up. No doubt, no doubt. Sweet. Well, I think that we're coming to a close here. I think that we're beginning to get to a place to wrap up. You want to summarize for us here, like what music means to you, what you think that the listener can find in music, what brings you joy about music?
Yes. Music is life. Music is love. Music is pure joy. To me, I think it's one of the greatest things to share to people. It's one of the most common things that we share as an animal group. Maybe it's not. Maybe you don't call it music. Maybe it's just your voice, but it is something that we share, and it's something that either connects us together, and it can like you know bring us together closer, so that we have like one voice that we can share, or it can just be inspirational and personal for just the individual. And there's no wrong answer with music. Anyone can sing, anyone can play, anyone can dance.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. There is no wrong answer with music. That's what I love the most. That's definitely a good moral of the story to take away. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Um, all right. Well, why don't you tell? In the beginning, you were telling me a little bit about some of the projects you're working on. Why don't you tell us where we can find you? What you're working on right
Yes.
now?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right now, I am running a podcast with my girlfriend. It is a cannabis education and informational social podcast called Cannabis and. You can find us on Spotify at Cannabis and, on Twitter and Instagram at Cannabis and 420. We post episodes regularly. Right now, we just have a strain review out on Runts RNTZ from the dispensary INSA. We post strain reviews. We do interviews with other users and advocates, and we're helping to promote the functional health, awareness, education, and a positive look on cannabis as a medicine and as a alternative, you know, to the heavy pharmaceuticals that either we're using daily, or just as something to help with the healing process.
Yeah. I mean, I myself am a pretty I am a pretty heavy cannabis user. Half, well over half
Right
for
on.
medical reasons, of course. And under half because I also just enjoy it.
Yes.
But like
Do
it
you use
definitely
any
helps.
CBD products?
I don't, but I have. I found like my flow with it, right? I've like we spoke a little bit in the beginning about how we kind of experimented with it throughout high school, throughout college, and we didn't really know what we were like doing. We were just like smoking weed to smoke weed. But
Yes.
like lots since then, like maybe in the later years of my college, I started to realize like what I was actually using it for. Like, yes, I was smoking a lot of weed, but like why? And that was because it was so helpful with my anxiety. It was so helpful
Good
with like
question.
my ADHD. There
Hmm.
was like a few things that like it really helped, and it really taught me about the ways to like deal with my own mental illnesses. But it required
Yeah.
becoming educated, and I think that that's really important that you guys are helping to educate like a wider community about the beneficial effects of cannabis. This isn't like, hey, we love smoking weed. This is come learn about the benefits of smoking cannabis.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. That's a really good thing that you posted, why you were smoking, what was it helping with, and what were the things that, that just were an assumed aid versus, all right, this is what is being backed by science. We can confirm that this is helping me with my depression. This is helping me with my sleep and, regular metabolic, actions or your, oh man, you can tell that I haven't gone to medical school, but yeah, there's a lot of things that this medicine helps for, and I am here to just let everyone know what it's good for.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely go check out Emmanuel on Cannabis, and you can find them on Twitter and Instagram, Cannabis and 420. Educate yourselves, learn about the thing. Absolutely. We love that you come out, that you've making the time to be a guest here on the Pure Joy podcast. It was absolutely lovely picking your brain about music and why it connects us all as a culture. So I really appreciate you coming on out. Yeah, we're gonna do some close up stuff here, but it was
Thank you
lovely,
for having
lovely,
me.
lovely chatting.
Absolutely. It's been amazing. Chat, please check out shows, the Pure Podcast, the Pure Joy Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have not, check out other episodes. They're all lovely. They're all different subjects. We've sometimes talked about music. We've talked about plants. We've talked about cooking, like all across the board. So definitely go check some of the episodes out. Yeah, we're gonna do some close up stuff here, man. But we will. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes. Thank you. I hope to see you soon. I hope to
Absolutely,
see you
friend.
soon. I'm gonna have to come out and see you.
That would be great. I would love that. I would love that.
Absolutely. Peace out.
We'll catch you later, my friend. As one second, y'all. Let's switch over to here. Where is it? Where is it? Just chatting. Where the did just chatting go? Good lord. Ugh. Ugh. Why? There we go. Yay! All right, we're back here, y'all. As for everyone else, I want to thank you all for coming to join us on the 19th episode of the Pure Joy podcast with my guest, Emmanuel Hernandez. I introduced him as Manny there in the intro of the podcast, but as he said, he likes to, kind of goes by Emmanuel in his professional life, so Manuel Hernandez. He was here to talk to us about music, a subject that connects all of us, whether we listen to the same songs or the same genres or not. We can connect through the feelings that music evokes. I think it's a very powerful subject. Like he said, it goes all the way back. It goes back to our past, our ancient ancestors, people learning to play music for the first time, and I feel like there's connections to be made there. We can connect to one another about the moral of this song or that of this album or the journey that it takes us on. Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate Manny coming on out. Dang. I really appreciate Emmanuel coming on out to share his joys. He shared a little bit of the challenges, the stage fright that can come with that, the second guessing. You have to make sure that you just drive, do, fail again, do again. No, what is it? It's try, fail, try harder, fail better, or something along those lines. There's a few different writers who've said that, something along those lines, you know, historically. And I think that while I don't have the exact quote there, the sentiment is there. And that is when you try, like, go out and do it. Try to play some music, try to sing, try to perform, try to write. You may not do the best. You may fail at it the first time. You probably will find failure with it the first time, but you'll learn from it. You'll grow from it and you can take it again, then learn and grow from that one and just keep repeating down the road. And then you'll look back and you'll see, like, this is where I was and now I'm way up here. I've learned so much. I can do it so much better or so much harder or so much more. Um yeah, it's important to never quit because we are nervous, because we're getting a little bit of stage fright. Like, second guessing our creative things is how they get, buried under years of work. Just produce them, make them, do it, and find the feeling. And find the feeling of joy that that brings with it. I want to appreciate all of you for coming on out and joining us here on this episode. I want to thank Emmanuel for coming on out and making the time to be a guest and talk to us about music. I want to thank Mayonnaise and Murda for allowing me to use their music in the edits of the podcast, in the intro, the outro, and the transitions. Their information will be down there below, so make sure you go check it out. I'll also have the info for all of Emmanuel's socials that he talked about for his podcast down there below, so make sure that you go check that out. And I appreciate all of you for coming on out and joining us. This is, I think, the end of the episode, y'all. So thanks. We will see you next time, folks.